Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Happy Gatty Crypto here. So let's dive into an update on Ed's pretty much latest Agora text, which I guess is going to turn into a proposal in itself. That's why it is put in the governance and proposal section. So let's go through it from the top. So it's to promote chain utility via an establishment of the Terra Classic grants program. Now, before we do dive into this, I think this is great because, as you guys know, I have been pushing, I've been preaching, I've been raving from the rafters, so to speak, about utility use cases, incentivizing projects to come back in other ways of just, dropping the burn tax and thinking it's going to make them come back, even though they didn't come back before the burn tax was put into play. So this, for me, is a really good idea. So with the likely passing of Proposal 5234, there will be a portion of seigniorage redirected to the community pool at the end of every epoch. With the influx of new resources, it is critical that the community spend the funding with wisdom, transparency, and efficiency. Historic methods of distribution, trust me bro, are insufficient with no accountability, nor is there any established peer review process in the distribution nor oversight in the use of grant funding. So, Ed proposes the establishment of the Terra Classic Grants Program for this purpose. The Grants Foundation will have the following procedure. 1. Identify or use deficiencies within the Classic ecosystem. These needs will be through community solicitation or roundtable discussions with community members, validators, developers, and users. Create requests for proposals for identified needs. For example, this could be a general call to attract NFT developers back to Classic. I like the fact Ed understands how important NFTs actually are to our ecosystem. They provide such a huge amount of volume. Anyway, moving forward. Build educational material for Terra Classic. Promote Terra Classic via social media rewards for devs, validators, promoters who stuck with LUNC from the beginning, or very specific requests such as add a two-factor authentication to Terra Station wallet or maintain a testnet for developers. I think testnets for developers are needed, and the LCD endpoints are needed for people to be able to test out smart contracts and things they've been working on at ease of, working on a testnet or the Rebel 1 testnet, so to speak. But the fact this addresses here in the second part of it, the whole idea of producing educational material, which is what I've always been about here on this channel, and that's the whole point of creating the Lunar Classic Basics playlist. Like, you just don't see these kind of things from other influencers in this kind of it's all about clickbait and stuff like that. Lunkdao raised a good point. Anyway, moving forward. Market RFPs to the greater crypto and Cosmos community to collect grant applications. Unsolicited grants will also be accepted. Find independent grant reviewers with no conflicts of interest to the grant proposer. A small stipend will be offered for the review of the grant. Grant reviewers could be members both internal and external to the Lunar Classic community, from Osmosis, for example. Perform a synchronous review of the grant proposals with independent, anonymous reviewers. Come up with a recommendation: poor, fair, good, excellent. Grants over the threshold will be recommended for funding and presented for community pool distribution. There is no fixed set of reviewers. Reviewers will be chosen based upon their expertise in relation to the proposal. Grant proposers will be interviewed and KYC'd and presented to the community. 7. Community governance will be presented with all the information. A discussion will be posted on Agora and recommendations of the independent reviewers will be presented. The community will then be asked to vote for distribution to a multi-sig wallet controlled by the team and the grants program manager. 8. Distribution of the funds in the multi-signature will be pay by milestone. Funds will only be distributed upon satisfactory completion of given milestones as signed off by the program manager via the multi-sig wallet. Grantee will provide project updates in the form of documents, videos, or demonstrations of proof of work until the grant expires. I think this is absolutely awesome, and Ed's always kind of thinking all these things through, and I always appreciate, his input. So the rest of this goes over the you know, the conflicts of interest and qualifications and things like that. But I think you guys can read that for yourself. But the reason why I wanted to read through just, you know, the basic procedure of what is probably likely going to be the outcome of this is ultimately projects are going to be able to get funding. And that's anyone across the board that wants to apply for it. So if you've got a project, but you don't have the funds, you've got a really good idea, you've got all of the documentation together, you can present that to the project manager, and then they will put you forward and give you a rating as stated by Ed in the procedure. So this in itself is a really huge step towards taking accountability for bringing back utility cases to the blockchain, because it's down to not only us as a community, but also Terra Rebels, and the fact that they are going to be getting funding into the community pool is really good. And then we also need to remember the community pool in itself is, you know, nearly at $500 million Lunar Classic. That's a lot of money sat in that community pool. And that's just LUNC. We've still got USTC and, you know, these other stablecoin coins in the actual pool itself. So we've got a lot more than just 412 million LUNC, and it works out to a lot more, as you've been told in other people's proposals. Now, the staking ratio has finally got above 10%. This is really good because it's just more coins locked up, meaning that they can't be dumped back onto the market, which isn't always a bad thing, right? And I'm going to be doing a video about the life cycle of, you know, a Lunar Classic coin and how it should work, and that people selling out is actually totally normal, and it begins the new lifespan of a coin itself. So people keep calling them Lunar Classic tokens. They're not, they're coins. We're a layer 1 blockchain. We're not a meme token. So what does this all mean? Well, realistically, on top of the proposal that's going through and this Terra Classic grants program going ahead, it should really start to, you know, bring projects on board for the sheer fact that they won't need funding because they can get funding from the community pool. And then paying by milestone is absolutely just genius, because why would you pay someone out the full amount? You would do it on the basis of how much work they do and how good the work is. And obviously if they're sticking to the plan accordingly. So, and I mean, it would have been absolutely helpful for us if we could have applied for this grant for our projects we've been working on, but we're at a point now where it's nearly done. We're testing a few things, and you know, saying about these LCD endpoints to you guys, and you know, providing a lot more resources just to the community themselves is a huge thing, and I think it's great. This in itself is another huge step towards restoration of utility use case and bringing projects back, getting those ones back that we lost to V2, and providing a better experience than V2 is probably the best thing we can do right now, because that is what is going to incentivize, you know, these projects to come back, Galactic Punks, people like this. So really good to see this, really happy about this. Definitely be voting on this one. And just really excited, just really stoked for things like this, because this is what is going to get the price to where we want it to be, which is like higher highs, higher lows, and then steadily moving up all the time. Nothing too crazy, but slow, steady, organic growth. Nothing pushed, just slow and steady wins the race. Leave a link to this in the description for you guys, and looking forward to Binance's burn today. Stay safe out there, guys. I'm not a financial advisor. Beware of scammers, beware of doppelgangers, beware of anybody pretending to be me, and I'll catch you in the next one.